Hey guys, one of the perks of being in the Diablo Immortal Partner Program is that I can get information about upcoming patches and provide my feedback, but this also means that I can make content for you guys as soon as the embargoes have been lifted. In this case, the embargo has just been lifted for the teaser blog for the upcoming major update, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So here we are, this is the information that was shared to all the partners, and I want you to bear in mind that all this information is coming directly from Blizzard. This is not leaks. I know that recently there have been a lot of leaks floating around, but I just wanted you guys to know that this is official information directly from Blizzard. So let's just quickly get started. So it says, a shattered sanctuary is on the horizon for the next major update. Wield the consecrated Eldraine and face off against Diablo. Your fated fight against Diablo draws near. So it comes as no surprise that Diablo is coming to Diablo Immortal, and I'm really hyped for you guys to actually see because there's some really awesome cinematics which are going to be released by Blizzard, so stay tuned for those. But it says that the hour is nigh, adventurer. Our latest update for 2024, Shattered Sanctuary, and your climactic fight against Diablo will come into fruition on December 13th. So it's official, the update is coming next week on Friday, and mark your calendars because the fight with Diablo is going to be intense. So while you prepare to clash against the fully restored Lord of Terror in the new zone he created using the World Stone Shard, World's Crown, we're providing you with a look at the Shattered Sanctuary main quest, challenge dungeons, new Helliquary bosses, and 3 new legendary gems. Okay, this sounds really interesting. Let's read on. A Fated Duel, Shattered Sanctuary main quest, and we've got an image with Diablo himself, and we've got a Blood Knight, Monk, Tempest, Barb, and Necro fighting. That looks really cool. So it says, Shattered Sanctuary is the next chapter in the main quest for Diablo Immortal, available to those who've completed the Crucible of Justice quest with Eldraine. So that was the last main quest that we had. With Eldraine, the Sword of Justice in hand, gather your allies and sail to a ravaged land in the far north. Here at World's Crown, our largest zone to date, you will face Diablo in a high-stakes duel for the fate of Sanctuary. So it's confirmed the new zone is going to be called the World's Crown, and it's going to be the largest zone. I wonder what the largest zone is currently. I'd probably say it's either Stormpoint or Realm of Damnation. So it's pretty nice that we're actually getting an even larger zone than that, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of stuff to explore. But before you can clash against the Lord of Terror, you must fight through a vicious legion comprised of terror demons and cultists, Shardborn and the Maddened. The latter seafarers and seasonal visitors to the World's Crown were among the first to gaze upon Diablo's visage and spiral into insanity. Now they're indistinguishable from monsters. If you're unable to hold terror at bay, all of Sanctuary will be unmade. Yeah, so I've seen a couple of the artwork for some of these monsters, and it just looks completely crazy. And with the recent graphical upgrade we've had in Diablo Immortal, I can't wait to see how cool this zone is going to look. So next we have crank up the complexity in challenge dungeons. So we've got an image of the Lich King here. Dungeons just became more rewarding and dangerous. Shattered Sanctuary introduces boosted versions called Challenge Dungeons, which are higher difficulty versions of all of Diablo Immortal's existing dungeons. So every single dungeon in the game is going to have a challenge dungeon version of it. When you begin a challenge dungeon, you'll be assigned 1 to 2 random dungeon modifiers such as pools of magma, increased monster speed, or bonus globe drops. So I'm not sure what they mean by bonus globe drops. Is that just like the frenzied globe and such? Because globe drops is something that's useful for the character. So this is kind of strange because the first 2 modifiers sound like they're gonna hurt your character, like pools of magma or increased monster speed. These kind of sound like they're gonna make your job to clear the dungeon harder. But the bonus globe drops, I'm not too sure what kind of globes we're getting. And maybe that they debuff your character somehow, I'm not too sure. And then it says your first challenge dungeon completed each week will provide a chest with a guaranteed set item, and all challenge runs will have a higher chance of dropping potent rewards. Okay, so that sounds pretty cool, but I wish that the guaranteed set item would be an exceptional and with triple sockets, because I know that a lot of players are complaining about sockets. If this is just a once a week thing, then surely the rewards could have been a little bit better here. But this does sound really cool, and I'm hoping that this gives kind of a breath of fresh air to dungeons, because most people are kind of bored out of their mind running the same dungeons over and over again. I'm not too sure, to be honest, if just these 3 modifiers will do it and you only get 1 to 2 random dungeon modifiers, and I'm hoping that there's going to be more modifiers than this, maybe stuff that's going to be revealed in the full patch notes or when we do get it in game, because this does sound a bit scarce, if I'm being honest. And another thing is that I really wish that these had some kind of leaderboard with times and stuff, because we did have a dungeon event before, which did have leaderboards and times, and that was pretty fun, at least for me. I know not everybody liked it. But to be honest, since they've already kind of tested this functionality in the game, it would have been nice to also have the times for dungeon clears also included into this. But okay, Let's move on. So next we have the Helliquary bosses. It says, meet your next nightmare, Dreadbirth Helliquary bosses. Some of the Lords of Terror's strongest allies have reared their abhorrent heads in Sanctuary. Rayek will need your help more than ever to return these abominations to the crevices they crawled out of. Gather your allies and prepare to unlock 3 new Inferno difficulties and various helpful rewards for slaying the Dreadbirth Helliquary bosses. Here's a look at who of these Harbingers of Hell are. I'm not going to read through all of this, but I'll just read the bosses, or at least try to read the names of the bosses. So you've got Bogmarik, the Tormentor, and it says that defeating Morsagure, which I believe is the crab, the Fisher's Ruin from the last group of Helliquary bosses, unlocks Inferno 4. So it sounds like if you have defeated this boss in Inferno 3, it's the last boss of Inferno 3 that we currently have in the game, you're going to get Inferno 4 difficulty unlock. And then defeating Bogmarik unlocks Inferno 5. So, okay, that's pretty cool. It seems like they're just following the same pattern that we've had before. I'm curious to see how cool these bosses look. In this particular image, they look really gruesome, so I'm really hyped to see how they look when we do get them in game. So next we've got Morgeist the Molten. So defeating Morgeist unlocks Inferno 6, which I believe is the last of the new difficulties. So we're getting Inferno 4, Inferno 5, and Inferno 6. And then for the last boss, we've got Spray, Sovereign Shade. And it sounds like he's going to be the last boss, at least for the foreseeable future, for the Helliquary boss. Let's move on now to the next part, which is Legendary Gems. I'm sure a lot of people will be hyped for this part. Myself, personally, I'm not really the biggest fan of always introducing new Legendary Gems, but I know that a lot of players do really like it, so I'm going to go through it quickly. So we are getting the Golden Firmament, which is the 5-star gem. I believe that there were some leaks kind of going around, so let's take a look at the actual stats of this gem. So bear in mind, all of these stats will be at rank 10. So it says dealing damage grants you Ascendance for 6 seconds, increasing your evasion rating by 12%, and causing you to unleash 3 blasts of wind at random nearby enemies every second, dealing 110% base damage plus 486 to enemies they hit. Enemies struck by multiple blasts take 75% reduced damage from subsequent hits. Cannot occur more often than once every 20 seconds. So I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I'm not the biggest fan of these kind of gems which have a limited effect, occur only once every 20 seconds. I know a lot of gems follow this pattern, but I really was hoping for a gem kind of like a Bloodsoaked Jade effect or a Pain Clasp effect. Those always seem to be the most powerful gems that we have in the game. But I am kind of curious about this gem, especially the evasion rating, 12%. This could be pretty powerful. It does sound like this gem is going to be more towards a PvP gem rather than a PvE, where it's giving you this burst damage of the 3 blasts of wind at random. Personally, I'm not really going to be spending orbs to get this gem. If I do get it, then I definitely will test it out as an auxiliary, but that's about it there. It does sound really powerful. I'm really curious, like I said, about this evasion rating and how much impact it has on your character. So next we have the Mercy's Harvest, the 2-star gem, and it reads that damaging enemies below 30% life conjures a scythe-wielding Reaper to cleave through nearby enemies, dealing 145% base damage plus 587 to enemies within the area. Additionally, enemies slain by the Reaper increase your damage done by 2% for 30 seconds, stacking it up to 6 times. So this can stack up to 12%. For 30 seconds, cannot occur more often than once every 6 seconds. This does sound kind of interesting. I'm kind of curious to see how long this Reaper actually lasts. It doesn't really say here. And can the Reaper be damaged by enemies? It also doesn't really say here. This could be a really good gem, but I'm not too sure. I kind of need a bit more clarification onto how this works. If the Reaper does count as a summon, then I could see this being used in summoner builds. The damage bonus does sound pretty good. I'm just really curious to know how much of an uptime this Reaper has. It says it cannot occur more often than once every 6 seconds, but I'm assuming that it lasts with your character for a while. I could be completely wrong about that, but that's just my assumption. So stay tuned for this one. We might be doing a bit of testing around it. And then last but not least, we've got the Havoc Bearer, the 1-star gem. It says using a dash skill increases the damage done by 18% and your attack speed by 4.8% for 2 seconds, cannot occur more often than once every 6 seconds. So once again, even though the damage increase and the attack speed increase is pretty good, I'm not the biggest fan of this limited time uptime. It sounds like this gem is also another burst damage gem for PvP. It's only 2 seconds every 6 seconds. So one thing is that it could potentially get buffed by your beneficial effects from Vithus. I'm not too sure if it's going to work with that, but if it does work with that, then it could be a bit better, because then you'd have like 3 seconds or maybe 4 seconds for every 6 seconds, and then it might actually be a decent gem. And then once again, you've got modify your drop table. So basically from 13th of December, from when the patch goes live until January the 8th, you're going to have the option to turn on the limited time drop table, which is going to give you a 50% chance to get the Golden Firmament gem, one of 5-star legendary gem drops. So that's pretty nice if you are looking for that gem. One thing which I don't see here is for the high spenders, what gems go inside your Golden Firmament. It doesn't really say here. I'm hoping that when the full patch notes are released that we do get that information. So I think that that's about it. Oh yeah, so for the Eternal War, it says the Eternal War rages on. So it says, by decree of the Lich King, the Eternal War, Fallen Citadel Dungeon, and Cutthroat Basin, and the Mornskull Legendary Gem of the Eternal War event will now run until December 31st. So it's kind of nice that we do have this event extended. I know a lot of players who are trying to get the Mornskull up to rank 10 are kind of rushing, because after the Eternal War ends, if you didn't know, the Mornskull gem is only going to be able to be acquired by Telluric Pearl crafting, because a lot of players are actually trying to get it from running Rare Crest and using the Telluric Fragment crafting there. So basically they've acknowledged that and decided to extend the period of the Eternal War until December 31st, the end of the year. So I think that that's about it. It says more details to come. Stay tuned. More information about all the features coming on the next major update, with the article coming on December the 11th. So on December the 11th, we're hopefully going to get the full major update patch notes, and then on December 13th it's finally going to be released and we'll all be able to fight Diablo. So while I am pretty hyped for this, I'm cautiously optimistic because I don't want to set my expectations too high and then it kind of turns out to be a letdown. But I am really pumped to be fighting Diablo and also check out some of the challenge dungeons. I do also know a couple of extra details which weren't included here, but will probably come up on the full patch notes when we do get them, so stay tuned for that. For now, I just want to hear what you guys think, so as always, thank you so much for watching. Do let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.